A rental truck into pedestrians on a Boston sidewalk. Several people hospitalized, including 2 with critical injuries.
At this point, at least at this preliminary juncture, we don't have any reason to believe that this was an intentional act. It may very well end up being a tragic action.
Suffolk County DA Kevin Hayden says it could have been much worse. At a busy time of day in the city, the truck ended up on its side, wedged between a pole and a building. Fire officials say the driver had to be extricated from the cab. About 24 hours from now, the president unveils a new policy, spurring a lot of debate.
President Trump's wide-ranging tariff announcement Wednesday is going to work, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says.
The president has a brilliant team of advisors who have been studying these issues for decades.
Economists warn tariffs charged to importers will increase prices on goods for Americans, and markets have reacted negatively.
You should trust what this president did for you in his first term. He effectively utilized tariffs while driving down inflation.
The administration says tariffs will generate revenue to offset tax cuts and bring jobs from overseas to the U.S.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Senate Democrats forcing a vote on reversing tariffs on Canadian imports by nullifying an emergency declaration tied to those charges. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
I proudly support this resolution, because these tariffs are a tax increase on American families, plain and simple.
The resolution seen by some as a test of Republican support for the Trump agenda. The Canadian Prime Minister, meantime, holding a call with Mexico's president today about what Canada calls unjustified trade actions and the Prime Minister's plan to fight back. Another mixed finish on Wall Street. The Dow down 11 points at the bell, but the Nasdaq finishes higher. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
It's tax season. By now, we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number, $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed. Save up to 40% in your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. That's LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
The future of a rising Republican star and now former Trump cabinet nominee remains unclear.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says GOP leadership has not made any decisions on Elise Stefanik after President Trump pulled her nomination to be UN ambassador.
All the leadership posts are filled at the moment, so we're trying to figure out some creative role for Elise to play because, I think that helps the whole body.
Stefanik resigned her position as GOP conference chair when she was nominated by President Trump, who now wants Stefanik to stay in Congress over concerns a Democrat could flip Stefanik's New York House seat in a special election. That conference chair role is now held by Michigan's Lisa McClain, who isn't resigning. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
2 House seats left vacant by Republicans are on the ballot today in Florida, where the Democrats are outspending the GOP candidates. In Wisconsin, voters are picking a new state Supreme Court justice, an election that will decide that court's majority, drawing national attention and record spending for a judicial race. Whole milk might make a comeback in schools after being removed in 2012.
It was initially seen as a way to cut down on rising obesity rates and reduce saturated fat intake, but research has evolved since then, and the Senate Agriculture Committee held a hearing to discuss reversing the ban. Versions of the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act are pending in both chambers of Congress, as newer research indicates that the saturated fat in dairy doesn't impact blood pressure or cholesterol like previously thought. Overall, the legislation has received bipartisan support, but some Democrats have expressed hesitation. School nutrition programs are required to meet standards set by the federal dietary guidelines.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just invited to appear at a Senate hearing next week on his proposed reorganization of the department. This as Democratic attorneys general go to court over planned cuts, including thousands of layoffs. Elisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois. Champaign and Memphis, Saturday, quiet day's worth of weather before an active and moisture late one gets going. Increasing clouds this afternoon after morning sunshine. More seasonal highs at 53. Light wind out of the northeast and east. Tonight, breezy, not as cool. Rain after midnight and a late night thunderstorm towards the dawn. Low down to 45. Increasing east-southeasterly wind. Windy, much warmer for the day tomorrow. Periods of showers and thunderstorms both morning, afternoon, and evening. With a southeast to south wind gusting 40 to 45 miles per hour up to 72. Heads up tomorrow afternoon. Early tomorrow night, enhanced risk of severe weather, level 3 out of 5. Lows tomorrow night down around 50. And for the day on Thursday, cloudiness, some cooler weather, a bit of rain early, more so in the afternoon up to 63. Scattered showers late Friday at 61. Heavy rainfall potential Friday night into Saturday with a high up to 54 there on Saturday. Then cooler weather sets up here for early next week. 55 on Sunday with a shower early. Sprinkles, maybe a snowflake come Tuesday morning. High temperatures in the 40s. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Soldier.
Oh, the transfer portal. We love it.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? It's The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Kyle Tosk.
Morning.
Just explaining the Michie Johnson career arc
Makes
to
sense.
Lon right before we click the microphones on. If you're wondering or you need to be informed on this, started at Ohio State, his career, that is, then goes to South Carolina, transfers back to Ohio State for this season.
Of course.
And then naturally now commits to South Carolina to go there for his final year. So I guess two programs, one in the Big Ten, one in the SEC. Must be a lot of transferable credits between those. You know, they say South Carolina is the Ohio State of the South.
You know, it used to be kind of tricky if you – I remember a buddy of mine transferred from, like, Illinois to SIU or vice versa, something. And I remember, like, he was having this hard time and making sure that all of his courses transferred and all this. And I remember thinking, even back then, this is like 1989. I'm like, man, that would be a pain trying to figure that out. And that's something I don't even think about. I don't even think about the educational part of this. That, you know, like.
And you probably shouldn't, although Michigan would be the school to be like, yeah, actually admissions does matter. Otherwise, they probably would have gotten Terrence Shannon Jr. and Caleb Love.
Wow. It's just, I don't know, Derek, something's got to be done. It's just, although I did think of this the other day. I've been thinking about a man cave, you know, and how I'd want to set it up and what I'd want to do. Trey White would have a really cool man cave, right? I mean, he has a closet full of what? What did he start? USC.
Yep.
Then he went to Louisville, then Illinois. And, you know, those guys, they get gear galore, right? And now he's going to go somewhere else. He's going to have a really cool, like 4 Trey White jerseys. I mean, he's getting to be like, you know, Major League Baseball, like Edwin Jackson. Yeah. I mean, this is so kudos to the kid, I guess. He's got gear for the neck till he's 30.
No doubt.
So till he outgrows
and he can reorganize it all that he wants 4 different ways. He'll be changing the setup more than my wife changes the living room.
Do you just come home and like knock into things? You're like, wait a minute, why is that there?
The couch is here, now it's here. There's a new rug. What's wrong with this rug? Oh, I want a different color. And that's the portal.
And you're like, Haley, how did you move the couch by yourself?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, well, I'm a mom, and I just have that kind of strength. I mean, it's like that couch is heavy.
Crazy.
Oh, it's.
I wouldn't want to be the academic advisor that sees Trey White's transcripts and be like, oh, okay. Let's see what counts here and what doesn't.
I guess if you're the 4th coach, you know he's not leaving again.
Right. Sure.
So wherever he goes last, you know, it's like, well, we got you now.
1 year.
We got you now. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if I'm enjoying this or if it's just so absurd that it's funny or if it's upsetting me. Like, I don't know where I'm at on any of that. Every day, like, it upsets my oldest son. Like, every 5 seconds I get a new tweet, I'm sorry, a DM. Oh, this kid, Gillespie's in the portal now, or this guy's in the portal. Oh, now Merez has these 6 teams, and you know what, Merez? And then he said something bad about him. And it's just, like he's angry at this stuff, and I just sit there and I want to be angry, and then part of me just says, you know what, the St. Louis Blues have a chance to win 10 straight tonight, and I'm just going to focus on that for right now. And baseball's going, and I'm just going to try to enjoy that.
Yeah. No, I think that there's certainly 2 drastic sides of this where you get really upset about losing pieces that you don't want to lose, or you just get upset about the current state of how much fluidity there is. You can't hang your hat on anything in this current environment in college basketball, and you are probably upset by the fact that, what drives a lot of these decisions. There's a lot of just flat out bag grabs, which
big time.
You get it from one standpoint if you were in that position, and there is a potential to make money, and this is essentially pro sports now, at least semi-pro, but obviously it's big business in college basketball. And I think losing Merez, and I will throw this in there, and we can talk about this a little bit today. What will be the Illini fans' final reaction to what if he's putting on the maize and blue? What if he's going to commit to Michigan? What that ultimately is going to draw as far as a response, and just is he then now a full-on villain? And
absolutely,
yeah, that would be pretty crazy. On the flip side, the chase for some guys that you want can be really exciting. Like when Illinois got Terrence Shannon Jr., that was a huge get. We were on the air live when the Matthew Meyer news broke, and we spoiled Hans D's send-off. Like, Hans D, this is his last show here, and you're going to do a special edition of Who You Got. Oh, Matthew Meyer commits. Thanks, Hans. Thanks for your time.
He's still bitter, by the way.
I know.
Hans is still bitter. He still deserves that send-off one day.
Right, he does. Well, we didn't want it. Maybe Matthew Meyer helped us because we didn't want to send him off. We didn't want to get rid of Hans.
Exactly.
So that maybe was part of it.
That's a good point.
But the idea, of the Avicic bros playing together.
Yeah.
Tommy and Z at Illinois. That's a fun idea. That could be certainly you got 2 talented guys, and reuniting and playing together. If Big Z does end up going to Illinois, it could be one of those things that is a benefit of the portal. So there's 2 sides of it. But no, I don't. As someone that has to cover it, at times I'm really frustrated.
I can't imagine.
Like, how do I even deal with this?
Do you just wake up and how do you do it? How do you cover
I don't know. It's all reactionary.
Okay, I was going to say. I mean, do you have a game plan going into the day?
Nah, sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes you will, but then it's kind of all reacting to developments in news and phone calls and texts. And my wife hates it right now. I'm trying. I told somebody earlier this week I'm trying to, number 1, survive, number 2, not get divorced.
Exactly.
And,
I'm picturing you and Haley with the meme in bed. And you're sitting there on your phone, and she's like, kind of asleep, going, he's texting other women, and you're sitting there going, oh, Trey White's leaving now. Mm-hmm. You know what I get? You get what I mean on that
absolutely.
meme? Yeah.
Like, could Tommy and Z really play together? How many minutes?
And Haley's just over there going, well, who's texting him now?
Yeah, I know.
At 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Coach Alexander. It's no big deal.
I got to take this call. She's like, this is terrible.
It's Jake from State Farm.
I know.
That one?
Yeah, in the middle of the night. That was a great commercial.
That was a good commercial.
That was a classic. What are you wearing? Khakis?
It's, hello, Jake. Oh, it is him. Yeah.
She sounds hideous. Right. Yeah, I put my phone in the stroller. We went on a walk. I was sure it was going to end up in the woods somewhere.
Oh,
but I still have it. And someone asked, "Pipes, has your phone burst into flames yet?" No, but it's getting a lot of work.
Derek, to add another meme, is the dog in the middle of the kitchen that's on fire. And you're just sitting there. I don't know if it's a dog or whatever it is.
The dog's at the table and the house is on fire.
Right. Nothing to see here.
Yep, this is fine.
Everything's good. Will the Avicic thing, or not would that work? Would it work having those 2 guys? I guess it would, right?
I think you make it work.
Okay.
That's one of those things where you have 2 7-footers, and Zvonimir is a really good shot blocker, really good 3-point shooter. So at the very least, he shot 37% from 3, nice. and Kyle said it yesterday, and I think I would agree just based on the statistics that Z might even be a better shooter than what Tommy has been to this
Unreal.
point.
Okay.
So that's something where I think you could stagger those guys to play the 5 and probably end up with a situation where one of those two is playing the 5 pretty much at all times. And you got a floor spacing, skilled offensive piece at the 5 to open up a lot of things and get that three-point shooting. And Z, when he's around the basket, can really contest shots. He had the highest block rate in the SEC this year.
Okay.
Can they play together? That is a question that's worth having to really explore. If you're Illinois, I think you'd be open-minded. I think they are. I've heard that they feel like they could play some minutes on the court at the same time, but it's really something that would have to really be determined based on what the roster looks like.
Fair enough.
You know, right now when you're piecing this together, even if you're like, all right, give them Z on this roster, who do you have? Tommy, Big Z, Kylan.
Ty, maybe?
Jake Davis. Like it's hard to have a full picture right now. So we'll see what that looks like. Number one, that's why you have the summer. That's why you have the fall to really try this thing out, try different looks, and see what it looks like. But Zvonimir, not long ago was thought of as the better NBA prospect.
Right.
He has a lot of talent. He had really high points this past season with Arkansas. I had some low points as well, but I think that they're excited about his upside. And how could Tommy not be thrilled?
Oh, it'd be cool.
And you want him happy to try to stay at Illinois for another year for sure.
I think two things real quick. I think their dad or mom needs to be a shooting coach somewhere because, I mean, those two kids are 7 foot and they shoot better than most guards in the country. Number two, it would be interesting. Was Tommy a good defensive player this year by the metrics?
I don't know what the metrics say, and sometimes it's hard with defense to take too much from the numbers because the numbers usually don't take into account what you take away defensively. It's really like shots against you. I think the eye test would say he's certainly limited in terms of what he can do. I mean, there were times where he got pulled away from the basket, and I think about the Purdue game, guarding and ball screens at times. It was hard to get a lot of help from him.
Right.
I think Z is thought to be more athletic, although I think he's still relatively slow-footed. But certainly he has some more vertical athleticism and those type of things. But I guess the way I'd put it, and I'd be interested in what Kyle would have to say too. I think he's solid, but you kind of know what you're getting. You got to put him in drop or understand that he's not going to show a lot of help, and he's not a shot blocker, but he can contest some around the basket because he is just he's 7'1".
Yeah, Kyle, I would like to hear. But I guess the idea that both can shoot does give you some fun thoughts on both of them being on the court and playing Sean Miller, right? I mean, he would just be like, no, I'm not playing Illinois. I will not play Illinois because I do not want to see both of those kids hit threes against me. But the idea that they can both do that, and you think, okay, is it Big Z? I'm not even going to try to say his name yet. Not until
Big Z.
Not until he's on the team, and then I'll worry about that later. But so defensively, he's probably your better defensive player.
Between the two, yeah.
Okay, but not like a Merez type of strength. So would you, if that happened, I'm just playing dream scenarios here. If that happened, you're still needing maybe to get, like to me, you don't pair those two then with Humrickhouse at the 5, right? Because then you don't have any kind of beef whatsoever. Nothing against any of those kids, but you don't have that strength of a Merez. So you'd still almost want to get the Merez Johnson kind of type that can at least, especially defensively, hold their own underneath.
No doubt. Yeah, you'd want a physical presence in your front court, maybe even more geared towards playing the 4.
Got it.
And an athletic, good rebounder, mobile enough to cover ground. And a lot of times Illinois has switched 1 through 4, so maybe that's a guy that is capable of guarding multiple positions. But yeah, I think kind of it, not to say you have to get a carbon copy of who Merez Johnson is, but yes, someone who is athletic, who is strong, who is good on the glass. Now, as we've talked about here recently in the idea of like, could Ty come back?
Mm-hmm.
He would give you some rebounding. He would give you some athleticism. So you like that. I don't know that Ty would play. He might play some 4. I don't know if he'd be a primary 4. But yes, I do think that, and it has been emphasized, like, hey, we need even with Z and Tommy, if they were to be paired together, you need like a legit athlete, rebounder, physical guy up front.
I'm just going to be transparent. This last season, I thought that would be the end of Ty. We wouldn't see him again in an Illinois jersey, and I got to the point where I was okay with that.
Yep.
I got to the point where it's like, okay, he still can't shoot necessarily, and I'm okay with structuring a roster that has guys that can score at a better level than him. I'm completely now the opposite side. I'm completely in the boat of now without Merez, I feel like you need a dog because I feel like Merez played that part, right? Ty played it 2 years ago, even though Shannon certainly did. But then this year, Merez kind of took that role, and Kylan, don't get me wrong. But I feel like Ty could be that guy. And wouldn't it be a weird scenario to where, like, I wonder how many Illinois fans ever would think that he would be back. Once he made the announcement he's redshirting last year, if you took a poll of Illinois fans, would it be 80-20 that he would ever come back to Illinois? I would assume at least that, right? And probably for good reason do you think that way. But now I'm completely the other side to where I would love to have him back. And then all of a sudden, and it's funny how you can trick your mind to this, when he redshirted and wasn't on, playing last year, I came up with so many reasons why it's fine. It's fine that he's not playing. He couldn't shoot. We've got guys now that can blah, blah, blah. Now my mind tricks me back into, man, he would be great on the glass. He can play defense. He can play guard spot if needed, right? I mean, he can do that. In high school, he brought the ball down all the time, it seemed like, in transition. So it's funny how your mind can play that. But I really, truly am back in the area now of where I hope Ty Rodgers is part of this team next year. And what I was getting at is, wouldn't it be funny then that from what we thought about the day he redshirted to, consider, let's say 2 years from now, which you can't, and he's still in Illini and graduating, let's say, and you're like, boy, what a weird path. Like, it wasn't, though. Like, it wouldn't be a weird path. He literally just redshirted 1 year and then played the rest, right? Mm-hmm. But still, in your mind, it would be like, man, I had him gone. And now all of a sudden he's this valuable piece of the team. Do you guys think the same way? I think Ty now is almost like I want him as much as almost anybody now to come back to this team. Not that he's left.
Right. Yeah, it would be
I'm
pretty
sorry,
amazing.
I want him to stay with this team.
Right. It would be amazing based on what you would expect to have happened when he redshirted and the fact that it was a late decision, and maybe it would just completely break us of fully expecting a certain outcome when that does happen. And of course, all the details around it, like Tim Anderson being gone,
sure,
and the fact of where he was in the pecking order, and usually a guy that goes from starting every game to then being in a bench role and then redshirt's like, okay, he's going to look for somewhere else where he's going to play him the type of minutes that he wants. But yeah, I've had heard even before the news came out and maybe even was finalized with Merez and Trey that, hey, the staff had told Ty that they really want him back.
That's awesome.
I think that it was still kind of wait and see in terms of the receptiveness of Ty. And I said yesterday I wouldn't be surprised if in a similar fashion of Luke Goody last year, maybe he sits back and waits a little bit more to see what pieces go where and what that role actually looks like for him until he kind of really evaluates what he wants to do. And that wouldn't be a surprise to me. So I still wonder about what Illinois tells him in terms of his role, how many minutes they foresee him playing, and but in terms of like some fits on the court, you don't have to worry about him and Merez not being able to play together. You don't have to worry about Trey being directly ahead of him. Not that Illinois won't recruit other guys on the wing and whatnot, but yeah, if he's on board with it, I think it could be a great boost of, a guy that they think the world of him in terms of his character and how he is as a guy and all the players. I don't think they're just giving you lip service. They really like Ty Rodgers. They think he can be a leader, albeit, yes, it's fair to critique and say the leader stepped away at the right as the season was about to start. But still, yes, very hard worker, high character guy, physical, athletic, kind of just has a team role player makeup, and he's been to an Elite Eight before on this team. So I think it could help quite a bit. I'd like to have a Ty Rodgers on my team, and that's what the Illinois staff has been saying as well, what I've heard recently.
Kyle, I want you to continue to remember all this because I do want your thoughts on everything, all of the above. I like Big Def's text where he says, if we get Big Z at the 4, Dix at the 2, give me Ty channeling some late-stage Evan Turner at some point forward. I'm with you. I think Brad really likes Ty Rodgers. When you look back at this last season, would Ty Rodgers have helped Illinois?
I think so at certain points. I mean, when this team, you question whether they were tough enough, athletic enough, that was something that he could have provided and helped with. Now, the way Trey White played down the stretch, Trey was definitely going to be ahead of Ty in that pecking order, and he gave you more than what Ty would have been expected to give you down the stretch. Not to say they couldn't have played, especially when Merez was out, then maybe you could get away with playing Ty and cutting into Ben Henrichhaus's minutes because Ben struggled and was inconsistent. Now, there were games like the Purdue game where he hit some big threes late, and even obviously other points where he did shoot the ball pretty well. And even in the Michigan game where Tommy was in foul trouble, Ben could guard Golden and battle, where that wouldn't have been Ty's role. Like he would have been obviously in a no-win situation there. So the short of it is I think he could have helped you at times. I think his role would have probably been up and down. And when the way that Will Riley developed, who he was late in the year, who Trey White was late in the year, I think Ty would have been off the bench and having limited minutes, but maybe he takes some of what Ben played.
There is no way we get Will Riley back.
I don't think he's coming back.
I mean,
I wouldn't say no way. I think it will depend on what he's told in the draft process. And if he's not sure to be a lottery 15 to 20 range in the first round, then I think there's more conversations to be had. I've told people, and I've shot this back and forth with a number of people here recently, like mid-first round picks don't go back to school.
Correct.
Like that's just kind of the way we should think about this. Not saying, there have been maybe a rare occasion here or there, but that's kind of a general rule of thumb that tends to work itself out. I think from Illinois' standpoint, they have talked about what year 2 would look like in terms of development, role, money, and there'd have to be a lot of it, obviously, to get that thing done. But and also I think they want to put in the mind of him and his people that, hey, if you go somewhere, and number one, you'd have a chance to really boost your stock if you come back. You might be a surefire lottery guy. Number 2, if you go now, are you in the G League? Probably.
Yeah. G
League life isn't all that glamorous. Ask Terrence Shannon Jr. about his couple of stints in the G League, or there are certain guys who would say, maybe stay in college, get the ball, play in that world, instead of going and playing into the G League. But it's risky money-wise because the NBA contract's 2 years fully guaranteed, and then you're that much closer to your second contract. So,
you get that clock ticking for that second contract.
I still land on I'd be surprised if he comes back.
Ditto. And it's amazing when you think about it. I'm glad you brought up Terrence Shannon. Terrence Shannon, to me, was so much more ready to take on a role in the NBA. And I mean physically, just growth, just everything, maturity. He is light years to me ahead of what Will Riley is right now. But yet you understand that instead of Shannon spending another year in college like he did, Will's going to be getting paid, like big pay, to develop and play against. I think that's the other thing, too, is you're not practicing then against college guys necessarily. You're going against NBA guys, and that's only going to make you better, I would assume.
Yeah, like you said, Terrence, because of his age and his strength and athleticism, was one of the more college-ready players in the draft.
Yes.
NBA-ready players coming out of college in the draft. And he got picked over, certain guys got picked ahead of him because of upside, and Will would be one of those guys. I don't know who the NBA-ready college player is this year, but he would get picked over certain guys even though he's 18, 19 years old because of who he can be. But looking, again, I know we've been over this before, at the rookie pay scale this past year, let's say if he goes 15, that's $4.2 million in his first year, $4.4 million in his second year. That's fully guaranteed.
Wow.
So you're talking fully guaranteed $8.5 million with team options that that go, push that all the way up to $20+ million through a 4-year window. You're not getting $4.2 million in NIL, I don't think. That would be the highest deal that anyone's ever inked in college. So I think in that type of a situation, you'd be walking away from guaranteed $8.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
It's too risky to go back to school at that point. So if he's 15, if he's 20, you start going into the late first round, maybe there's more of a conversation. But yeah, I think a guy would probably be willing to take some rides on the bus in the G League for $8.5 million over 2 years.
And that second contract we all know is the big one, right? I mean, you can make a bigger one your third, but that second one, if you can get that one, like Io did, then you know you're really cemented now in the idea. All right, Kyle, you got a lot on your plate.
Kyle Toss, respond.
You have
your
2 minutes.
Where do I start?
Big Z, can they play together? You think? Would you like that?
In some matchups, a little bit. Sure, I would much prefer to just have it be more of a center rotation with maybe 5 to 7 minutes a game together, and then Tommy's your 28 minutes a game at center, and Z plays the rest. If you're telling me I can have one Ivicic on the floor at all times, I think I love that idea.
I like
because,
that.
like Pipe said, you got high-quality three-point shooter and a really skilled offensive player at the 5 at all times. So in that sense, I like it. Just from an entertainment perspective, I think it would be really fun to have both those brothers on the court this year. So I think that would make some sense. But in terms of Ty Rodgers, I think the biggest thing for me that he can really provide that I think you're losing with the loss of Merez and Trey White is offensive rebounding.
Yeah, good call.
I mean,
Great call.
those are two of your best offensive rebounders. And if you're going to have an Ivicic on the floor at all times, I imagine you're going to take a lot of threes again next year. You're going to want to chase those shots. Ty Rodgers, that's where I think he could provide a lot of value, as well as the toughness, the physicality, the athleticism, which I think you're going to need. A legitimate offensive rebounder based on what we know Illinois wants to do. I think that could be pretty important, and you're losing a lot of your offensive rebounding from last year, and he's a guy can go chase those, and I think that's where I would be intrigued by that. I just don't know if he, in terms of the type of role that he could have, if you are going to have Big Z or Big T out there at all times, does he take away some of the effectiveness of what those guys do at the 5 playing next to them? I do wonder that. So, would he be your starting 4? I don't necessarily know about that. I would say roll up in the air, but I definitely would like to have him back if it doesn't have to be too much of a guarantee.
Yeah. If Pipes, if you said to me, Lon, I need you to write down the 3 reasons you want Ty back. Number 1 is rebounding. And there's no doubt about that. He showed that as a freshman. You know how much I love rebounding. And Kyle, that's a great point with regards to the offensive rebounding, because obviously we heard all year, whether you laughed at it or not, or whether you threw things at the TV when you heard it, that, well, we know we're going to miss shots, but we're going to go get half of them back. So it's one of those where sometimes I'd be like, okay, Brad, just act like I'm in 3rd grade and explain this again. Like, you're going to miss shots. You just want, so that's the game plan. I mean, it still seems weird to me, but I'm with you 100% on that. Would you care to comment on Carson Kelly's cycle or the Cubs bullpen?
Carson Kelly cycle. The first cycle for the Cubs since 1993 Mark Grace is Carson Kelly.
Paul Pabst, our buddy, his tweet today was, I used to bartend quite a bit in Lincoln Park in Chicago. I saw Grace hit for the cycle quite often.
Yeah. There you go.
Mark Grace, man, he was awesome. He's a good dude. I interviewed him one time. Really nice.
Right?
I don't want to get off the rails here. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. And the guy that would go in the dugout, smoke a cigarette, and go up and smoke another single, he was a good hitter. Yeah, it's interesting. I got to read one other funny thing. So last night my boys and I were texting, and Lucas says, Tommy's brothers entered the portal. Any updates from Piper regarding the UCF guard, which is where I want to go? My response was, I really don't chat with Pipes about these things except at the show. Which elicited a ha-ha. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and bother Derek at 8:30 at night. Hey, what are you hearing about Gillespie? What are you hearing about this? What about the UCF guard? I know that you wrote an article today.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance actually to read. I was laughing telling you that I had tried to read it about 10 different times today, and something always came up. I don't want you to give away too much, maybe, if it, with your article, but how would he fit? What are his measurables, and how would he fit into this lineup?
He's 6'4". He's got good strength.
Oh, I like that. See, that's Tanji's 6'5", strength.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I want. That's my number one thing here.
He was a senior at UCF this past year. Hurt his back in an exhibition game. Actually got taken off on a stretcher.
Oh, wow.
And then tried to return. He played 3 games late December into January, and then went back on the shelf and shut it down for the rest of the year. Kind of probably too risky to especially when he knew if he sat out the rest of the year, he'd have another year to try to gear up and play again in college basketball. So an older guy, he is coming off a significant injury.
Yeah.
But his junior year, which would have been the previous season, 23-24 at UCF, put up 16 points a game there, and that's in the Big 12. That was 4th in the Big 12. Very explosive athlete that attacks downhill. I think it's a thing that Illinois really likes and needs, because when you play with a spaced out offense, the lane's wide open, and there's a lot of driving opportunities. This year, Illinois didn't consistently have enough of a presence of attacking the basket, enough guys that could beat somebody off the dribble and take advantage of the fact that Tommy's pulling the 5-man away from the basket. So I think that's something that's been really emphasized. They want to get older. They want to get more athletic. They want to get tougher, and I think he checks all those boxes. They do see some similarities to, not saying he's going to be Terrence Shannon,
right?
But because of the athleticism, you look at his transition numbers, he was awesome in transition, and that's something, obviously, Terrence, he led the nation in transition points his last year at Illinois. Sellers is pretty darn good in the open court as well. So, and I think defensively, just based on his athletic profile, could be somebody that helps you at that end of the court. So, on the note of Tanji, man, I'm not, again, it's kind of, Shannon is such a high bar, and you even say his name, it's like, oh, that almost feels like, overshooting it. Tanji, similarly, but a guy that was hurt at Missouri, a guy that maybe didn't have this type of suitors that he would have otherwise. Maybe his market value wasn't as high as it otherwise would have been. So maybe, just maybe, there's an opportunity for Illinois to buy a little lower than what it would have been after the 16-point per game year at UCF. Instead, it's the three games played, back injury, and if he's healthy, maybe he takes this huge post-injury jump like Tanji did at Wisconsin.
He checks so many boxes. And Tanji, I'm sorry, I called him Tanji. All right, before we go to break, Kyle, because I know you're itching to do that, literally as you itched your head, Heath said you stopped Kyle before he talked about Will in the draft. What were you going to say anything about Will?
No, I mean, I would be shocked.
Yeah, same here.
I'd be shocked.
Same here. He's going, which is great. It would be great to see 2 Illinois guys get called in the first, top 20 picks.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome.
And to say in a 2-year span, Illinois has had 3 first-round draft picks.
And all of a sudden, then, you would have 4 NBA guys, right, with Io and then Shannon and these 2, KJ and Will.
And Podziemski.
Oh, and that's right. Meanwhile, Myers Leonard's walking around his living room still singing.
Oh,
Did you see that one? Yeah.
I saw he's really going for this, isn't he?
He really is. And he's got that deep voice.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good stuff.
The deep voice worked out for Luke Bryan just fine. So.
Yes, it did. I know Kenny's got a great question about coaching changes with Illinois, so we can attack that as well.
Sounds good. If you want to send in your texts, questions, thoughts, 217-359-2255, Max Twin City Recycling text line. We'll talk more transfer portal. I want to talk a little Josh Dix, who's on campus at Indiana today.
Ooh.
That thing's boiling down to the final stages here. And is it going to be Illinois versus Indiana at the end? And we'll talk about that. And we'll talk some baseball as well. Cubbies win big last night. Cardinals lose in frustrating fashion. Speaking of frustrating, the guy on the hill for the Angels will tell you about that as we go along. It is The Drive.
Are you tired of shivering in the winter? Look no further than your local heroes at ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. Hi, this is Gina inviting you to give us a call at 217-352-5400 to book your appointment to make sure your furnaces run safely and efficiently this winter. We've been proudly locally owned and operated and have been serving our community for over 50 years. ABC, always be comfortable. Call me 217-352-5400 to book your appointment today or go to abcheatingandac.com.
You've set your financial goals. One kid plans to go Big Ten, the other Ivy. Your bucket list includes seaside sunrises and sunsets on the slopes, or perhaps a second home away from it all. Busey Bank can help develop the right investment strategy to take charge of the years ahead. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
I'm John Phillips, running for City of Champaign Township Supervisor, and I need your vote today. Township plays a crucial role in the managing of the budget and allocating funds to support the well-being of all residents, especially the most vulnerable. The unhoused community in Champaign is a complex problem and requires a complex solution from a strong leader. Downtown Champaign is facing increasing challenges due to the unhoused crisis. Businesses are leaving, storefronts sit empty, and public safety concerns grow. The current approach isn't working. I will work to develop sustainable solutions that provide care and stability for the unhoused while ensuring downtown remains a vibrant place to live, work, and visit. I love Champaign, and I am committed to making changes for the better. Give me the opportunity to lead us in the right direction. Please vote for me, John Phillips, for City of Champaign Township Supervisor. Leadership you can see, presence you will feel. Visit voteforjohnphillips.com. Early voting is happening now.
Paid for by Friends of John Phillips.
From computer systems to brakes and tires too, at PDR, fixing cars is what they do. Remember, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 or use their dedicated text-only line at 383-0619. Additional information including repair quotes and online scheduling requests available from the website at pdrauto.com. Remember, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
I love a great garage sale.
There's a big one coming up at Two Men and a Junk Truck on Saturday, April 12th.
Oh, Two Men and a Junk Truck does a great job for people downsizing and doing garage cleanout. I'll bet they have some really cool items for sale.
And when shoppers tap into the April 12th garage sale at 701 West Bradley in Champaign, purchasing treasures to take home will help the Movers for Moms, Courage Connection, and See You at Home.
I'll bet I can find more details online. twomenandajunktruck.com.
Sarah Champagne Managing Partner Ben Quattrone on why integrity is important at Sarah.
We hire the person. The person makes the deal. The person makes the department. The person makes everyone around them treat people with courtesy and respect. If you have a quality human being, you can play any position, right? We're talking about sports. They can perform in any department, and I could teach someone a job, but I can't teach them to be a good person.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com. That's SERRA Champagne.com.
My name is Jim Brookins. I own my lawn care service for over 15 years now. I have met a lot of great people doing this. Most of the people I meet, they become great friends. I do edging, weed eating. I blow everything off so it looks fantastic when I'm done. I believe, in my mind, I do the best. Usually my average range is usually around $40 per yard. You can call me 217-621-8807. 217-621-8807.
Your number one sports bar and grill is Pia's. Head to 1609 West Springfield Avenue to watch all your favorite sports teams play on the big screen TVs as you enjoy great drink specials and the famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger. With the slot machines, darts, video, golf, and outdoor beer garden, meet your friends at Pia's. Since 1975, open mornings at 7 a.m., Sundays at 8. See you at Pia's.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
You can draw it up just on this napkin here. There's no whiteboard, but
yeah. If you don't mind.
Yeah, you know.
Gets back to the room and he's got like 14 napkins, like Hurley, Yukon, Samson, Houston.
We did get a text earlier. Who's the best or power
rankings
the Final Four coaches between Shire, Golden, Sampson, and Pearl.
I think Kelvin Sampson's number one for me.
I would agree with that.
I was telling you guys off the air, a lot of people, for some reason, put him up in that Bruce Pearl-esque hatred. He didn't do anything close to what Bruce Pearl did, especially like personally to Illinois. Now, did he cheat? Yeah, I mean, he got caught, right? He was making inadmissible calls.
Ended up getting fired.
And fired, right. And show caused, I think, didn't he?
Yes.
So it's one of those situations where Kelvin Sampson was caught. He paid his dues. And it's hard. Like I don't have this disdain necessarily for Kelvin Sampson that maybe I'm supposed to have or some people have. But I'll tell you what, like Kyle said, there wouldn't be many coaches that I would take over him. Mm-hmm. And what he's putting together, that factory at Houston that we have now seen for about 5 or 6 years of just consistent basketball. And you know what? I would not be upset to see them win an NCAA tournament. They're fun to watch. Now, Tennessee missed 18 straight point-blank shots, but the point is Houston is fun to watch, and I don't want to see Shire win it because not only him, but because it's just Duke. I don't want to see Duke win it. I don't really care about Florida, I guess. That'd be okay. But
Auburn you don't want to see?
No, I definitely don't want to see Auburn. I'm all in on Houston now. As my team, I don't know that they will, but I think that's my rooting interest now is the Cougs.
Kyle and I talked about this yesterday. Is this version of Duke more likable than others? Like, or is it still Duke that makes you gag and like, I hope they lose and don't cut the nets down?
Correct.
Yes.
Although it is kind of fun. I mean, like, Cooper's fun to watch. And you realize the greatness that he has. And the idea that, he can get you 24 one game or the next game he can get you 15 but have 12 rebounds and 6 assists. And he seems to play with some fun to him. And I just love all the weapons they have around there. I mean, that team is just, man, are they good.
They are. I do think, though, probably once we tip the games off in San Antonio, we'll get 3 Coach K cutaways.
Oh, yeah.
Before the first media timeout and be like, all right, I'm all the way back. Screw Duke. Let's get them out of here.
Like I always say, I'm like, oh, this Cub Cardinal series is going to be fun. And then the first pitch, I'm like, oh, I hate the Cubs. I mean, you're exactly right. It's exactly how I would do it. Yeah, 2 of the Final Four coaches have had show cause. See, it pays to cheat, kids.
Sometimes it does.
Get you through math. I mean, if you're struggling in math, just ask the person next to you how to do it.
Or just look in the back of the book.
Exactly.
I never understood that part.
I was talking. I know.
You want kids to actually figure it out, but they got all the answers in the back of the book.
How do kids learn now when you have AI and stuff? Can't you just be like, the question is, what African country, blah, 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 and it just spits out a paragraph for you. Like, I need 3 paragraphs, AI or Meta or whatever this is. Gronk, what is that? For the longest time, I thought we were asking Rob Gronkowski questions on Twitter. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that dude was that smart.
Bundle Bro, he's making Pizza Hut not tough anymore. I don't know if Brad needs to pick a new chain, but Gronk's sitting here saying Bundle Bros.
Bundle Bros.
No, I don't think those two can coexist.
It's kind of fun to witness Lon getting old with technology on the air in real time.
Yeah.
Because I literally thought at first, I'm like, is this like Rob Gronkowski people are tweeting that? Then I'm like, wait, it's Grok. What is Grok?
I don't know.
Anyway. Okay, how about Kenny? You want to go, or were you done with that conversation? How about Kenny? I have a question. With all the talk, the players coming and going, do we think we'll have any coaching changes with the assistants? I did want to ask you that. Who was the gentleman that kind of took Tim Anderson's spot?
Quay Jones. And in a temporary role.
Okay, temporary role. It does sound like the players love him, and he serves a role, like a nice role, but do you need somebody of maybe a bigger impact on Illinois than him? And that's not fair to him, me saying that, because his
No.
impact may be bigger than anybody on the staff. I don't know.
He's well respected for sure, and he has been very active in working guys out, and that's obviously a big part of what Tim did, player development wise and everything like that. I just think that Tim was somebody who was making around, I think his last listed salary was $650K. Like, that's very high up in the coaching food chain for an assistant. I mean, that's one of the higher salaries, to my knowledge, like of a Big Ten assistant that's out there. Obviously, Orlando right now is higher than that, and we don't have to go down that rabbit hole in terms of reasons why Tim Anderson's not here anymore. But I think that shows, and I mentioned it before, there is a more obvious place to put money now with revenue sharing and maybe not making all the expenditures that you normally would now that the players are going to be getting a big cut of what that is. But if I'm Illinois, I want to use my attractiveness in terms of the program, in terms of the money that we could throw at somebody to go get a legit needle-moving, proven assistant to add to the fold. Maybe it's not even necessarily asked to be a big-time recruiter,
right?
But somebody that can bring some X's and O's ideas to the table that are outside of the box, that are different. Maybe it's somebody that, player development-wise, that is really, really proven. Not to say that Quay isn't doing a good job with that, but recruiting wise, it would make sense of, do they have Chicago's ties? That could be of asset to Illinois, obviously, or ties in a different place. I think that I haven't heard anything. Jeremy asked Brad after the final game, have you made any headway or had any thoughts about filling that position? And he said, it's really not been on my mind. I think it's kind of a one thing at a time, and right now it's the portal. So there hasn't been any buzz, at least that I've gotten here recently. And but I do think it makes sense for Illinois to bring somebody else in as a full-time assistant to fill that spot. Personally,
I kind of agree. Before we get to Dan's text on the Max Twin City Recycling phone line, and I thank him for the popcorn and tell him next time I'd prefer just all caramel corn. But before we get to that one, I do have a legit question back to you, Derek. We always talk about, like, Orlando Antigua. The thing that made him so awesome to get was his connections in high school, right, and how he could recruit. Is there a protege? Is there a style of a coach now that is more of the portal kind of assistant? Or is that just so random that you can't really say, oh, this guy, this coach, man, at wherever, boy, he is the best at getting kids to come in? Because Illinois has been really good at getting kids to come in for the on the portal. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And do you even need a guy anymore that's good at recruiting high school kids? Like Jeff Alexander is a guy internationally now.
Right.
I'm almost buying completely into that. Like, I'd almost, I don't know, go hire an international coach now that's going to just get you a pipeline.
Sure.
I mean, be the first to do that and let everybody hate you for doing it.
I think one thing about international that's coming off of this season that's interesting to ask. Now, Tommy's a different story because he was 21 years old and he comes over with a little bit more experience. But I've wondered, even from Illinois' standpoint, maybe I'm not going to say they're going to dial back what they would do, but there was maybe an idea at once, like, hey, maybe not to say that you're going to get 3 KJs in a class, but are you willing to, while Europe is very talented and certainly maybe even less of a saturated market, would you want to get 3 19-year-olds, 18, 19-year-olds that will be, guaranteed big roles and those type of things? But Europe's very important.
I think it's risky to do that.
It is. I agree. That's where I was going with it as well. But I think 1 or 2 a year would make sense. Like getting Dame Sarr in this cycle would be awesome, especially the way he's playing. And he's not like many 18-year-olds over there. He's playing on the Barcelona A team and getting starts in the EuroLeague. So that's a little bit different than most guys. But anyways, I think it's a very interesting question to ask about, like, what do you need in an assistant in this new era? I think, an example of high school recruiting paying itself off, sometimes it can be the second time around. Like Illinois having a relationship previously with Terrence Shannon.
Right.
Jeff Alexander having a relationship with Kylan Boswell.
Absolutely.
It was an automatic, not only because this is his hometown, but his family had moved out west. It wasn't like his parents were still here.
Exactly.
It was that he knew where to go as soon as that opened up because they had that familiarity and that relationship.
Yeah, well
so
said.
I do think that ties still to influential people, whether it's high school coaches, AAU programs, probably more primarily,
Right.
but now agencies, like when you have an in with a certain agency, that can help too, even if it's just getting like a tip off of when a guy is thinking about leaving, because not that tampering happens or not that anything happens before a guy's in the portal. You know, sometimes there are some things that are set in line before a guy does ultimately become available to the general public. So I think sometimes those things are valuable as well. And I don't know. It's a great question. Maybe we should ask Brad Underwood that next time we talk to him.
You know how much love Brad Underwood had for Peyton Sandfort, that last game? And rightfully so, because Peyton was upset and everything. I think I'm going in the future, if I'm Brad Underwood or a coach, I'm going into every post game talking about how great the other players were that have years coming back.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Tanjay, I'm not saying a word. But if it's Josh Dix, I'm like, man, isn't that Dix kid really good? He seems like a great kid. I bet he would love Papadels. I'm totally.
Just take his 5-minute opening statement to talk about
just the best
John
player.
Blackwell.
Right. Just talking about the best player on the other team and how good it was. Last legit question before we get to the top. Where is the Euro League in compared to college basketball or the NBA? In other words, for guys like me that don't really pay attention to that, when you say that he plays for an A team in the Euro League, how impressive is that?
Extremely. It's the top league in all of Europe.
So is it close to the NBA? No. It's better than the NCAA, but not the NBA.
Right. I mean, it's grown men. It's full on professionals. I don't know in terms of I think it would be probably considered, unless I'm missing something, in the world it'd be the second league probably behind the NBA. I don't know. The gap's probably pretty wide,
right?
Ultimately, because guys over there, if they are NBA good, they come to the NBA for the most part. So, but the EuroLeague internationally is probably the top league out there.
I appreciate that.
As far as I know,
it's not confusing, but it is one of those where it's like, okay, he plays for the A team in the EuroLeague. So what does that mean? But I mean, I kind of have an idea just from hearing you all the years. But I'm glad that we hashed that out.
I try to let me look it up during the break. Jeremy broke this down. Other guys in the starting lineup for Barcelona that he was with.
Yeah,
a couple of them are former NBA guys who are continuing their careers over there. So maybe to give you an idea of guys that are on his team or going up against, I can do that coming up next hour. Let's continue to talk some transfer portal. I do want to talk a little Josh Dix.
Yeah,
about Indiana, Illinois. Is that going to be the battle at the very end? Kansas still. Until we hear otherwise in the fold as well, as far as trying to get that thing done. But decision might be coming soon for him, who this might be his last visit as he's currently in Bloomington. So what does that look like? And I want to talk a little bit baseball with you guys as well. And we'll continue to take your text, 217-359-2255.
Yeah, we got to get to
Twin City
Dan's.
Recycling text line.
Got to get to Dan's text.
Yeah, I got a story. Well, I think we'll let Kyle answer as far as one part of that, which he's got some bragging to do. We'll be back. It is The Drive.
Tim Culver, owner and president of Classic Plumbing and Air.
A plumber is a person that is well-rounded. They have education, they have experience, and they are versed in more than only one phase of plumbing. A plumber is someone that has experience in all three phases, and they understand how all three of these plumbing aspects work together as well.
Was in the heating and air conditioning business for approximately 30 years and then retired in 2021. So I came out of retirement because I'm very big on taking care of our local community. The most satisfying part of my job is when I know that I've done the right thing for the customer, taking care of the customer's happy, and when I walk out the door that I'm not afraid to put a sign out in front of their house that says, "This job was done by Chuck Thompson, Classic Plumbing and Air."
Visit them at classicplum.com.
At Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery, we're flooring people with amazing service, great design advice, and unbeatable selection and the best prices in town. It's the perfect time to update your home with waterproof flooring, carpet, hardwood, tile, and more. Then complete your rooms by shopping our incredible selection of furniture and accessories. We also offer great financing options. Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery, we're flooring people.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
The people on the other side are only interested not in playing decent, not in playing fair, not in being honest with the American people, but taking money out of the pockets of working people and the middle class and putting it in the hands of billionaires.
White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt says President Trump is putting American workers first, including with the new tariff policy he'll announce tomorrow.
President Trump's economic vision is rooted in common sense. America will offer companies the lowest taxes, energy costs, regulations, if they make their products right here.
No specifics yet on the new reciprocal tariffs. The Trump administration standing by the deportation of a Maryland man who says he's wrongly accused of gang membership.
In a court filing, the Justice Department concedes an administrative error led to the deportation of a Salvadorian migrant living in Maryland, but argues Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang.
We maintain our position, and very strongly so.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says,
This individual was an MS-13 ringleader. This individual was also engaged in human trafficking.
Abrego Garcia was sent to a notorious prison in El Salvador with hundreds of other suspected gang members. In 2019, an immigration judge ordered him not to be deported back to El Salvador because of a credible fear of being persecuted by gangs.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Meantime, a judge in Virginia says there is enough probable cause for a suspected MS-13 leader to remain detained. The FBI says Henry Santos is one of the top 3 MS-13 leaders in the U.S. and the top on the East Coast. He's charged with being an illegal alien in possession of a firearm. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
It's tax season. By now, we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number, $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed. Save up to 40% in your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. That's LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Confirmation hearing for President Trump's nominee to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Air Force Lieutenant General and Joint Chiefs nominee Dan Kane testifying before the Senate Armed Services Committee that
the nation and the Constitution all require a nonpartisan military.
The general even going as far as to debunk comments attributed to President Trump, claiming the general wore a MAGA hat when the two met in Iraq. Kane telling hearing chairman, Republican Roger Wicker of Mississippi.
For 34 years, I've upheld my oath of office and my commitment to my commission, and I have never worn any political merchandise.
General Kane also weighed in on the recent signal chat controversy, saying because it was a partisan political chat, the joint force should not have been involved.
Fox's Kevin Uretsky. The White House has said it considers that chat case closed and that steps have been taken to ensure it never happens again, but a Senate panel plans to investigate. 4 Beatles biopics are on the way, one for each band member. Director Sam Mendes is unveiling more details.
I wanna hold your hand.
The Fab Four actors include Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney, Harris Dickinson will play John Lennon, Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr, and Joseph Quinn will play George Harrison. The 4 projects are planned for an April 2028 release. Mendes described the films, collectively called The Beatles, a 4-film cinematic event, as the first bingeable theatrical experience. He added that filming will last a year. Monica DeLuca, Fox News.
Another mixed finish on Wall Street ahead of the big tariff announcement tomorrow. The Dow giving up gains and then paring losses, finishing down about 11 points. But the S&P in the green up 21 and the NASDAQ gains even more, up 150 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Eastern Illinois. Champaign and Memphis today. Sunshine this morning, increasing clouds this afternoon. Light winds up to 53. Breezy night is cool tonight. Rain after midnight and a thunderstorm towards the dawn. 45 the low. Tomorrow, windy, much warmer. Periods of showers and thunderstorms both morning, afternoon, and evening. Enhanced risk of severe weather. Strong and severe thunderstorms are probable with a high temperature tomorrow at 72. That southeast to south wind gusting better than 40 miles per hour. Showers and thunderstorms, as mentioned earlier, tomorrow night could be heavy and severe, low down to 50. Cloudiness lingers for the day on Thursday. Cooler, a bit of rain early, more so in the afternoon, up to 63. Scattered showers back in late Friday at 61. Maybe a heavy rain event on top of everything between late Friday night and Saturday. Highs up to 54 there. Then a couple of showers early Sunday. A little sprinkle and snowflake come Monday. We turn colder into early next week. 55 Sunday. Daytime readings in the mid and upper 40s next Monday and Tuesday. We'll keep you up to date. For CVJ Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
It is The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. We'll get to your texts as we go along, 217-359-2255. As we continue to talk transfer portal, Illini basketball, and we will get some baseball in there before we get out of here.
I just heard a Go Cubs outside.
Did you really?
From the community voting here in Philo. I won't say names.
All right, fair enough.
I said, well, just because of that, I'm not going to talk about the Cubs.
Well, they scored 25 runs last night.
Yeah. Was it 18-3?
Looked like they might get to 25 at one point.
Jeez.
Goodness.
That minor league park in Sacramento.
Yeah. You want to take a second? And I didn't get a chance. We talked so much hoops yesterday. Let's go off the path a little bit here.
Okay.
Let's talk a little baseball. How about first?
People are throwing things at the radio right now wanting to hear about Josh Dix.
All right, fine. Fine.
No, we
can we
talk
get to
baseball.
Dan's text first, though? I want you to do the honors of reading it.
Kyle?
I'm talking about you.
Oh, I thought you meant Kyle.
Yeah, unless if you don't have it up.
Is it Clarendon Hills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Dan.
We actually moved from there since then, so I should probably change that.
Okay. Dan says, I'm reminded that had I turned Kyle Foley over the line, by now he'd be drinking, smoking, gambling, and now cheating in math. Kyle's dad.
He's only doing 3 of those.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't started smoking yet. I mean,
yeah.
That is one thing, Dan, I don't do. So, Kyle will come home with like a pouch of, Granger Select or something.
Oh, yeah.
Chew. No, we won't do that.
He is having some
Yeah.
success on the gambling side if you're willing to.
The gambling side is going decent.
To gloat a little bit on that.
Are you going to start like a little, maybe tweet out some thoughts every night?
That's the problem with that is as soon as I do that, I'm going to go like 0 for
Go
40.
ice cold, yeah.
I've hit 3 of 5 home run bets in the 5 days of baseball so far. DraftKings gives you the $10 no sweat homer bet, and I've hit 3 of the 5, including last night. I was coming up with mine with pipes after the show. Hit Ellie De La Cruz.
Gee, money.
I think we should make him go on the record.
See, this
on
is
the
what I
show
was afraid of.
before the end. So the problem is, then we'll tail it,
right,
and we'll jinx
0 for
it.
4, 3 strikeouts.
Yeah. If I promise that I won't tail it, because that's a guaranteed loss.
That's true.
If I promise not to, will you give one at least one tonight?
Tonight I'm on Josh Naylor of the Diamondbacks against the Yankees.
Don't even know
Short porch.
Oh.
Will Warren starting for the Yankees. He's pitched 22 major league innings, 5.80 ERA.
Okay. I have heard of Josh Naylor. I don't know Will Warren.
I don't either.
So
another game's on TBS.
Plus 700
too.
too.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
Lon over here again.
Torpedo bat.
Yeah, what is up with real
I don't
quick?
know
What
about
is
that.
going on? These are legal.
Yeah. For now.
Yeah, right. Right. Are they going to continue to be?
I Imagine so, because they're not against the rules as far
Yeah.
as weight and the length of the bat either.
It's just like it's almost like it's wider,
Yeah.
right? So it gives you more of an like I needed that.
Right. Right.
I mean, I could have used that. So yeah, it's just kind of weird. It's almost like that. I don't know. It's just like me. I'm like, okay, everything's good. Like we're using the same bats. Everything's equal. And now all of a sudden we've got this coming up, and it's like, really? So now all of a sudden our team's not staying up with the times if they're not using these things?
I don't know. Like Ellie De La Cruz, Kyle must have had some intel.
I actually had no idea.
Used
But, yeah,
the torpedo bat for the first time last night and hit 2 tanks.
Kyle.
I should maybe start to look into that. Who's using the torpedo bat?
Yeah, right.
I saw somebody tweet out a list.
Everybody on the Yankees.
Yeah.
I guess.
I thought somebody not with the Cardinals, but with maybe the Twins. By the way, you're feeling good after that 3-0 stretch, and then the White Sox hammer the Twins. It's like, oh, okay, well, maybe that wasn't that impressive.
Yeah. It was still fun to win baseball games.
Yeah.
Last
it
night
was.
didn't feel so great, but
5 walks, 4 scored. And then we get the best pitcher in the history of baseball tonight. Going against the Cardinals.
I'll pull up those stats. I want to get the updated stats on him.
Okay.
Kyle Hendricks.
Oh, my.
That guy.
I literally saw that at like 5:30 this morning, and I was like, no.
That is hilarious. His first start not in a Cubs uniform of his career is at Busch Stadium against the Cardinals.
You know, he probably had like 8 teams that he could go to, and he was like going through their schedule. He's like, oh, second series of the year in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Angels. Hey,
He should
Mary,
do the
I'm going to the Angels.
He should do the transfer portal mercenary thing where he just like
Goes to
gets
wherever.
designated for assignment after every pitch, after every outing in St. Louis, and then he's just available to the next team coming in.
5 days later, he's pitching for the A's against the Cardinals. He's like, wait a minute. I thought we just faced him.
He's on 5-day contract. Just the rest of the year.
That is not fair. Don't even say that. Don't even give him an
It's a good
idea
actually,
to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Hendricks is good. And while I don't want to hear these stats, I do want to hear them.
I'll save him
when
for-
you pull them up.
Yeah, I'll save him.
Okay, that's fair. Stanton blew out his elbow using one?
I didn't know that.
Is he hurt already?
He's always.
Yeah, I was going to
Seems
say.
to always be hurt. I hadn't heard of that news though.
He does always seem to. I thought Wade sent in a funny one with you and Will Riley. Did you read that one, Kyle? He said, Kyle really let me down there. Was expecting an analytical look at pros and cons of a little less pay next year versus the inevitable strength and on-court gains that would propel Will towards the top of the draft next year. And all he says is, yeah, he's gone.
Sorry.
See, I'm rubbing off in bad ways to you. Yeah, he's gone. That's all I got. Yeah, I don't know.
What about Josh Dix? You want to talk about him?
I would like Josh Dix. Isn't it funny, though, that going into last season, I was not sitting there saying, okay, well, Josh Dix will be a problem when we play him for Iowa. Now, I knew he was a good player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting that he's not skilled, but I certainly did not, before the season started 4 or 5 months ago or whatever, sit here and say, gosh, can you imagine if he entered the portal and Illinois could have a shot at him? But he is essentially, when you compare him to Will Riley, which you guys have, he would produce more than what Will produced this year, right?
He'd be capable of it. He's more proven.
Yeah, that's not fair to Will. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
I think he's a very proven shot maker. I mean, he's
Yes.
a guy that's shot above 40% from 3. He can do more with the ball in his hands probably than he's done at Iowa to this point. And I think Illinois is selling that, like playing in more ball screens, and it'd be tough to guard him with his ability to hit the 3, hit the mid-range. If Tommy is also popping out for 3, like that's a really big bind to put defenses in.
Big time.
And I think he'd be a nice pairing with Kylan. We got
do too.
2 veteran guards and guys that can get out and go in transition. Dick's probably more as a spot-up shooter. Kylan can get a full head of steam and attack downhill. So I think the offense, the style that Illinois wants to play, shoot a lot of threes, a lot of spacing, up tempo, it fits a lot of what he did at Iowa. So
Yes,
I think that is kind of a seamless transition if he does make that. Illinois has prioritized him a lot from what I've heard. I think it's going to be a high price tag, and I think Illinois is prepared to go in there and do what it takes to get it done, at least as far as where it's been to this point. Indiana is scary because Darian DeVries recruited him really hard at Drake.
Oh, I didn't realize
and
that.
his Tucker DeVries and Josh Dix played together for a year in AAU. So those are things to think about. Now, I think with the usage and shots and those type of things, I think if you're Illinois, maybe you're saying, hey, if you're there with Tucker and you're there with Ryan Conwell, who they're trying to get as well. Ryan Conwell, of course, is the Xavier's guard.
Yes.
Are you the primary option, or how many threes? Not that they would limit it, but ultimately, I think with Indiana's relationship with him because of DeVries, with the money that Indiana throws, you got the teams that were number 1 and number 2 in NIL what was reported last year going at each other, and could end up being a rivalry clash at the very end of this.
And it's what's interesting about this is that Josh Dix, it would be awesome to talk to him right now and say, okay, before you make any decisions, I don't know that you played Kansas. Maybe they did. I don't remember Iowa playing Kansas. But you have played Indiana. You have played Illinois. You've been in both arenas. It would be cool to kind of hear his perspective and his feel for each program. Understanding that Indiana's doesn't have anybody coming back, essentially, right? So, they are literally just trying to put together a team. So that would be a little scary to me if you're Josh Dix thinking, okay, wait, like at least we say this. At least in Illinois, we think Kylan's back. We think Tommy's back, in that sense. And then you look at Indiana, there's nobody.
Except for Tucker.
And
that's where it kind of gets funny. It's like, well, Indiana only has Tucker DeVries.
But
and Illinois has Kylan and Tommy.
Yeah, but Tucker's like a guy that he's known for forever, probably, right?
Yeah. Now, it might fill out here soon. Maybe Illinois gets Big Z in the mix. Maybe we finally hear Ty Rodgers is going to stay. Like that, then it starts to come together a little bit more in terms of the pieces there. Not that I don't think Indiana's going to be able to put together a good roster with their NIL and everything, and DeVries is well respected. But yeah, there's maybe an easier way to see what Illinois looks like in comparison to Indiana as of right now.
If you get the UCF guard, what is his name again?
Jalen Sellers.
Sellers. What would that do with Josh Dix? Could they both play on the same team? You'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Or would that be, Dix might say, or Sellers might say, nah.
No, I like it. I like the way they could play together. I think you could start Kylan, Sellers, and Dix together as a backcourt, and
I'm
then
all about
go
that.
4 and 5. Not to say that if you get Dame Sarr, maybe he's pushing, and you got to make a decision on Sellers versus Sarr at some point. But yeah, I think that they complement each other because Sellers can go to the rim. Dix is a really, really good shooter, and you got some size. Dix 6'6", and Sellers 6'4", and Kylan is strong and sturdy as a point guard, and I think that would be a trio that could work together.
That would be a fun guard combo to watch. Trio, etc.
Yep.
Sarr, how big is he? Measurables?
I think he's 6'5",
okay.
6'6".
I almost, is it bad of me to say I'd almost rather have Sellers than I would Sarr? And I haven't seen either one play, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I want to get older. I am in that camp where I want to get older and stay older for the foreseeable future. I don't mind what Brad tried to do this year with some youth with KJ and Will, and obviously they were really good. I just feel like I like that feel of that team 2 years ago. I understand they went to an Elite Eight, so it makes it easy, but I liked going into big games knowing that Marcus Damask had played 4 years already and played a ton of games, and Terrence Shannon had played 4 years already and played a ton of games, and Quincy Guerrier had played big games, for 4. I liked the idea of having those guys out on that court to start a game as opposed to a KJ who's 19, Will Riley who looks like he's 14. I mean, bless his heart. And younger guys that, that could maybe get pushed around a little bit, but yet had the offensive ability especially to just take over games. I think I just want to get older. That would probably be going into this offseason, I want to get older. And yeah, Joel, thank you. Lon, you are already older. That is true. There's no doubt about that. I want Illinois to get older, and I want a Tonje kind of like guard with that 6'4", 6. I mean, when he started erupting for Wisconsin, I'm like, I pulled him up one day just like 6'5", whatever, and I'm like, that to me is the perfect guy to have. The guy that can get to the rim, that can score at an elite level, and is strong. And I want that.
Grown man strong because he's literally a grown man. He's 23 years old.
Exactly.
And Sellers would be in his 5th year in college as well. So I get that. I think ideally if you're Illinois, you're in a position to not have to make a choice and you can get both of them.
Yeah.
And I think the way it's been framed to me is that if you get Will Riley back, which we just already discussed last hour, that probably looks like a long shot, at least from what we can tell right now, that it's been either or between Will and Dame. It's been viewed.
Okay.
That you can't probably end up getting both those guys. I think Dame would see Will as kind of the role that he would want to play, ball in the hand and playmaking wing and that type of guy. I think that you would hope that you could get Sellers and Sarr at the same time and try to make it work. And try to, understand we'll have room to play both of you big minutes. One will probably start, one would then come off the bench most likely. But, I think it is still valuable to bring in high upside young talent, but having more of a older core would be something to obviously strive for. And that'd be something that Illinois would be able to do, hopefully.
I'm laughing because I'm going to ask Kyle to remind me something so I don't forget it. But then I started to say it, and then I'm like, I need to add his first name here. Kyle, can you remind me to ask about Josh Dix and defense, okay? Because I was just like, I don't know if that's going to sound good or the other way.
Between Illinois and Indiana, who do you think has the bigger Dix package?
Okay.
I went there for you.
We apologize to everybody out there that just wrecked. Now I've totally forgotten about my other part that I was going to ask you about. No. No, believe me, don't apologize. Well, let's just start with Josh Dix and his defense. In one of your articles had mentioned, obviously we know that if once you put on a Hawkeye uniform, you suck at defense, right? It's automatic. I do worry about that, but I think you brought up a credible part to your story in the sense that if guys around you are better defensively, because as collectively Iowa, every person that plays there is bad at defense essentially, and I don't think Fran cares, Illinois, that's not necessarily the case, right? Brad wants some defense. So I was kind of with you with that, with the idea that I'm still not sitting here thinking, oh, I can't wait to see Josh Dix shut down, this dude. But the point is, I think he would be better served knowing that he's got guys around him that are better defensively. Would you agree? But I still think it's a worry for me a little bit.
Yeah, I'd still have some questions ultimately. Like, is he going to be a plus defender? I wouldn't expect that. And you look at the metrics as far as what we can gain from him, he did not grade out all that well last year. Now he's on a defense that had no rim protection, and it's a team that was 170th nationally in defensive efficiency. So
I'm surprised they were that good.
I know, right?
Jeez.
And he was a guy on this last Iowa team that took a lot of primary assignments on the perimeter. I think with Illinois, Kylan can do that. If you get Sellers is 6'4" and athletic. He could do
Yeah.
that. So you might be able to, maybe hide is the wrong word,
I know
but
what you're
just
saying.
not ask him to guard the primary, even maybe secondary threat on the perimeter. You might be able to stick him on a spot up shooter, and not worry about that as much. So I think maybe even if Ty is in that mix as well, he could be able to take on some athletic assignments that you would get scared of Josh Dix matching up with. So he was part of a very flawed, not even the word to say, just terrible Iowa defense.
Terrible.
But how much was his fault?
Yeah.
It's kind of been hard to gauge without really watch. I haven't binge watch a bunch of Iowa here recently.
Right.
Maybe I should, so then I can report back on where I feel like he's at. But yeah, I've wondered about it.
I'm trying to remember who did he even check with Illinois? Was it Kylan? He wouldn't have guarded Kylan, would he?
I couldn't. Did he guard KJ? I can't remember.
I can't
honestly.
either. I can't either. So, man, I had a really good one too for this other question. No, you didn't. You just had the line of the year.
I mean,
and we're April 1. The line of the year just came down. If we ever
should I have said April Fool's so I didn't get in trouble?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I guess.
If Kyle ever does do that intro, from 2 years ago, if that ever happens, that I want that on there. What were we talking? Oh, we were talking about SAR. I'm just trying to make
SAR
my
and
mind.
Sellers, and you talking about wanting to get older.
Yeah, I don't recall. I just don't recall exactly what it was, but it's fine. It's just interesting. I just can't imagine the anxiety level really in all of college basketball with these coaches, but it's like because we talk about Illinois most of the time, I can't imagine what that's like over at Ubben right now. And maybe there's not. Maybe there's no anxiety. I know for a fact they know things we don't, right? So they understand, hey, we're in really good with this guy. We're number 3 with Dix. I'm saying that. That's me. I don't know. I mean, man, you're going up against, as you just presented an argument for Indiana getting him, that's pretty solid. With DeVries recruiting him out of high school, him knowing Tucker, him being able to essentially be maybe the focal point of an offense at Indiana. And then, of course, there's Kansas, and you can't discount just Kansas, right? I mean, that name. So, and Self, who's really smooth as a recruiter.
No doubt.
So it's what is going to happen to A.J. Storr?
I'd be surprised if he's not in the portal. I don't know what he's waiting for.
I'm shocked that he's not in there yet.
I know.
I am shocked at that. We'll see.
Looking back at that Big Ten tournament game, by the way, it looks like Dix's primary defensive assignment was KJ.
How did KJ do that day?
6 turnovers.
All right. Well, now we can look at that and be like, oh, that's awesome. He turned KJ over 6 times. I think I could force 3.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding, KJ. He would fake me out so bad that he would run into me.
Probably.
Because he would be expecting me to move or something, and I'd be like, I don't know what you just did. And then he'd just run into me. I'd be like, hey, I played pretty good defense there by not moving. Yeah, I'll think of the other one maybe as we go along. But don't apologize for what happened there.
Last note I'll say before we go to break, I did say that there were some former NBA players playing in the EuroLeague.
Yes.
On Dame Sarr's team, which is Barcelona. The top minutes guy in that squad, a familiar name, Jabari Parker.
Oh, wow. He's still playing?
Still playing. They played against Real Madrid, which is a Spain battle there a couple weeks ago, and Andres Feliz on that team.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's playing in a really good league, and can make really good money playing over there.
Jabari Parker. Duke? Chicago kid?
Yes.
How old would he be now? 40?
Jabari Parker.
He can't be. He's got to be in his early 30s.
He'll be like 24.
He's 30.
That's it?
Yeah, that's crazy. He's 30. I knew he wasn't older than me, but
that works completely the opposite of, do you guys remember when this happened in the world? And you're like, yeah, that was like 4 years ago. No, it was actually 14. You're like, what? I thought Jabari Parker would be like 40 years old.
Yeah,
He's only 30 years old.
30.
Man.
Now, his knees might be 50.
Yeah, right,
but,
right. I thought Illinois had a shot at him.
Yeah.
Man, there was some. Isn't that crazy now that you don't even worry about recruiting? Like, who was the guard from Chicago that was a sophomore? Or no, he's from Peoria or Springfield or Peoria. Well, where was he from? Brad went and watched him, I think, at one of the super sectionals or something.
Oh, here recently?
Yeah, this year. I'm sorry.
What's his name? Oh my gosh,
I mean,
my
that
mind
alone,
is so clouded with portal.
I know that alone is telling.
Yes.
Like that you're sitting there thinking, what?
Lincoln Williams.
Williams. I was
Kankakee.
going to say Williams, yeah.
Yeah, Lincoln Williams from Kankakee.
I mean, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that's all we would be talking about right
100%,
now.
yeah.
And I know Jeremy wrote an article about how, you guys as an Illini Inquirer staff, it used to be you'd spend so much money on recruiting and going out and covering high school tournaments. You were always at tournaments. You would always go to the 2, right? The Peach Jam.
Peach Jam, yeah.
And now it's like, nah.
I was still at Peach Jam last year, and
That's
I love
right.
making that trip, but I understand that it is a different world now in terms of what's
totally.
emphasized. But,
Totally.
Then again, I was in Indianapolis last spring watching a guy named Will Riley play AAU. So
That is
there
true.
is still can still be some value.
And didn't he erupt for like 33 one game and
38, I think.
38,
39.
Yes. And that I tell you what, that was a good get.
It was
for Illinois.
It really was.
For all the years that maybe we missed out on that one dude. I mean, that was a big get to get Will Riley.
Beat Kentucky for him.
That's pretty impressive. That's really impressive.
It is.
And
All
a
right.
kid out of Canada.
Yeah. Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
No tariffs on that one, as Raftery said. That was awesome. All right, due for a break. Before we do that, Lon's got to do a little work.
Let's do it. I'm going to tell you about the Busey mobile app. You can view balances, transfer funds, pay your bills. You can pay a person, deposit checks directly from your mobile device. Busey just makes everything easy. Busey eBank, you can control and monitor your finances through online banking. E-statements, receive monthly bank statements electronically. And your bill payment, the Busey bill payment, you can see and pay all your bills online. So no more checks to write or postage to buy. It's convenience, it's time-saving, it's safe and secure. And did I mention that if you bank with Busey, they have over 37,000 ATMs nationwide. Think about that. 37,000 ATMs nationwide. How nice would it be to be in Florida and take out money and not have to pay that? By the way, we're charging you $12. It's like, oh, really? So Busey can take care of all that. From surcharge-free ATMs to the Busey mobile app and beyond, they keep you connected to your accounts from coast to coast. Visit Busey.com for a complete look at their mobile and online banking services. As always, Busey, member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Tyler Weaver, president of Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery. It's time to come home to Carpet Weavers. We don't want you to just like your new floors. We want you to love them. From waterproof floors and carpet to furnitures and design advice, we've got a team of experts on your side. We'll get you the best price and the best quality products. And complete your home with furniture and accessories. Buy it all with free financing too. Come home to Carpet Weavers, where floors, furniture, and family meet.
Well, every month we enjoy featuring wonderful people from OSF, and that's what we got right now with Amber Oberheim. She's a family nurse practitioner at OSF Medical Group in Monticello. Let me ask you about women.
Yeah.
Caregivers.
Yeah,
and
we kind of take care of everybody else.
How do women remember to take care of themselves?
So here's the thing, Stevie. We need to remember that self-care isn't selfish. So in family medicine and primary care, we look a lot at preventative medicine. And so we're looking looking at different screening tests for women. Specifically, we're looking at mammograms. So after the age of 40, we want to make sure that every woman has a breast cancer screening every 1 to 2 years, depending upon your age. And then, of course, colon cancer screenings. Those are starting earlier now. We backed that up to age 45. And if you have a family history of colon cancer, then it may even be a bit sooner than that. OSF accepts all insurance.
Learn more at osfhealthcare.org.
Are you tired of shivering in the winter? Look no further than your local heroes at ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. Hi, this is Gina inviting you to give us a call at 217-352-5400 to book your appointment to make sure your furnaces run safely and efficiently this winter. We've been proudly locally owned and operated and have been serving our community for over 50 years. ABC, always be comfortable. Call me 217-352-5400 to book your appointment today or go to abcheatingandac.com.
Hi, this is Pam Moore with Philo Exchange Bank. Whether you want to do your banking online or you prefer face-to-face interaction with our friendly staff, Philo Exchange Bank delivers banking that helps you reach your personal or business goals. To us, you're not just another face, you're a part of our family. Visit us at any one of our locations in Philo, St. Joseph, Allerton, or Broadlands, and we'll be here to help.
Philo Exchange Bank, hometown community banking since 1883. Member FDIC.
I'm John Phillips, running for City of Champaign Township Supervisor, and I need your vote today. Township plays a crucial role in the managing of the budget and allocating funds to support the well-being of all residents, especially the most vulnerable. The unhoused community in Champaign is a complex problem and requires a complex solution from a strong leader. Downtown Champaign is facing increasing challenges due to the unhoused crisis. Businesses are leaving, storefronts sit empty, and public safety concerns grow. The current approach isn't working. I will work to develop sustainable solutions that provide care and stability for the unhoused while ensuring downtown remains a vibrant place to live, work, and visit. I love Champaign. I am committed to making changes for the better. Give me the opportunity to lead us in the right direction. Please vote for me, John Phillips, for City of Champaign Township Supervisor. Leadership you can see, present you will feel. Visit voteforjohnphillips.com. Early voting is happening now.
Paid for by Friends of John Phillips.
At Pards in Urbana, the boots just keep on coming. They're known for their huge collection of men's cowboy boots, women's cowgirl boots, kids' boots, and even shoes. If you're searching for top footwear brands, look no further than Pards. They carry a wide variety, including Ariat, Dan Post, Smoky Mountain, Roper, Double H, and more. And if socks or accessories are what you need, they've got all your high-quality essentials. Since 1968, Pards has been serving their customers with high-quality merchandise. And if you haven't been to Pards in a while, a lot has changed. Go check them out just off University Avenue in Urbana.
In 1925, a small plumbing company began its journey in Urbana, Illinois. Over the decades, the business grew thanks to hard work and great people. In 1966, things changed when Dave Reichard, a veteran, met veteran Ken Asklin, who was an architectural engineering grad from Illinois. The two realized their shared vision for excellence. Their partnership took root, and in 1975, the name changed to A&R Mechanical. With Dave as president and Ken as vice president, A&R Mechanical expanded services, becoming the go-to full-service contractor for all of Central Illinois. A&R went from a plumbing-only contractor to a full-service mechanical contractor with their own sheet metal shop. Today, A&R is a plumbing, heating, ventilation service company with the same excellence in customer service as they provided nearly 100 years ago. Design, build, and maintain. That's what served A&R Mechanical for nearly 100 years. Find them at Lincoln and Kettering in Urbana or online at ar-mech.com.
My name is Jim Brookins. I own my lawn care service for over 15 years now. I have met a lot of great people doing this. Most of the people I meet, they become great friends. I do edging, weed eating. I blow everything off so it looks fantastic when I'm done. I believe, in my mind, I do the best. Usually my average range is usually around $40 per yard. You can call me 217-621-8807. 217-621-8807.
Winter's finally over. Time to thaw out and enjoy the sunshine. But is your yard ready? Huh? 2 Minute Junk Truck can help you ditch the clutter and create the perfect outdoor oasis. From old patio furniture to forgotten fire pits, 2 Minute Junk Truck will haul it all away. Get ready for cookouts, parties, or just chilling with a good book. Make space for what matters most. Visit 2MinuteJunkTruck.com today. Use code RADIO25 to save $25 on your next service.
Back on the drive with Dan Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. We'll continue to take your text, 217-359-2255 on the Max Twin City Recycling text line. I was going to get Lon the Kyle Hendricks stats.
Oh.
And I'm in that process here. So this will be his 14th career start at Busch Stadium. He's had 9 decisions. You want to guess what his record is?
I mean, I'll go 8-1, but I want to go 9-0.
Yeah. It's 7-2. 2.26 ERA, though.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Time of games, 58 minutes.
Yeah, right.
He has just absolutely dominated the Cardinals.
It's insane.
Unlike any pitcher.
How about his career against the Cardinals, including games at Wrigley? Let's see.
Oh, that's got to be disgusting. 30-2.
27 starts, 18 decisions, 14-4, 2.51 ERA. And the thing was, last year he was bad.
Yeah.
And yet he went to Busch Stadium and threw a gem. He had a 6.30 ERA last year. Was he out all of 23? I don't have stats for him in that.
He missed a lot of the season.
Oh, wait, no, I was on spring training. Whoops.
It's the old death taxes and Kyle Hendricks dominating the Cardinals.
2024, 5.92 ERA, 23, 3.74. So it was last year that he really fell off a cliff, but I'll have to pull it up. I know that he went to Busch Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he did. It was his best start of the season.
8 innings or something? Something ridiculous.
I mean, he just literally just knifed through the Cardinals.
7 innings, 5 hits, no earned. Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Welcome back. Those are the kind of guys where you're like, why don't we just trade for him?
Yeah.
Just to not lose to him. You know?
I guess the thing from Illinois, we've talked so much Illinois transfer portal. You don't want it to be, we'll take the wheels falling off Adam Wainwright again.
I know.
The guy who can't throw 90 miles an hour.
Wouldn't you? Okay. Miles looked pretty good last night.
Take it.
I would rather have Kyle Hendricks throwing for me than Miles Michaelis.
I don't think so.
I mean, when he starts doing the little glove thing, like here comes the slider. Like, Miles, I think you're tipping your pitches, dude. I don't know. Miles makes, by the way, about $18 million, too.
Pretty good.
So it's not just that he's a below-average pitcher that is now your 4th starter, but he's making $18 million. That is maybe where you look at that and go, yeah, that was kind of a mistake.
I would say so.
I mean, he's had one really good year, right? I don't know. He pitched fine. Otherwise, Miles seems like a great guy. I think he's great for the dugout or for the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a dude that you'd go have a beer with, and although he seems a little strange. Like he
a little quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah.
That's a perfect word. Quirky.
Well, if we're giving $18 million to guys that we want to be around, we should put Shane Gillis in the in the starting rotation.
Built like Lance Lynn.
Yeah, true.
Lance Lynn retired, by the way, officially.
Oh, did he?
On his wife's podcast, I saw.
Interesting.
So, see, my research nowadays goes way beyond what you two can comprehend.
So they scooped Matthew Stafford's wife's podcast.
Exactly.
Take that.
Yeah, take that.
Kelly Stafford.
Matt, that girl just fell off that stage. Run. So can I? He'll never live that one down.
No.
Real quick, we never talk hockey. I just want to throw this out. The Blues on fire, playing tonight. In fact, they're on such fire that Fox Sports Midwest is showing them as the main game.
Is that right?
Yeah, and the second channel, unless DirecTV Guide is wrong, the second channel, the alternative channel, is the Cardinals game. But the Blues have won 9 straight, so they're looking for 10. And they just added Jimmy Snuggerud, who is their top pick, and a kid that just was dynamite for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I think he had 66 goals in college. So he's 20 years old, and I think he's going to play a little bit tonight. So it was they had a cool story about him and how Braden Shen, the captain, went and picked him up at his hotel because he came in and stayed at a hotel before his first practice. And they said that people were calling the practice facility at 5 a.m. asking what time the Blues practice was because they want to come and see Snuggerud. I'm excited to kind of my viewership tonight. I'm gonna obviously watch a little bit of the Cardinals, but it is dialed in on the Red Wings Blues. Which, first of all, I still hate the Red Wings because of Steve Yzerman.
Matchup.
Yeah, I know. That's just Stevie Y from the blue line beating John Casey. Scars. I want to whip the Red Wings. I want to win 10 straight. And I want to see Snugs get a goal tonight.
Should be fun.
That'd be so cool. Blues have some fun kids on their team with Kyrou and Thomas and bringing up Snugs now. And I mean, this is, I told you guys, and again, nobody cares, but like the Blackhawks are in this, all of a sudden they're in this perennial, like, I don't know if perennial is the right word, but like they've had all these high draft picks and you're just kind of waiting for them to kind of start showing something, and they're really not yet. And they'll have another high pick this year, and they're going to be good again. Let's be honest. But the Blues have some fun guys to watch, and I think once they get rid of some of this cap space on all their defensemen that are all making like $8.2 million a year, which is high in hockey, I think here in 2 or 3 years, the Blues could be really good and fun. They could be really fun. I might have to invest in a couple of tickets down at what is that even called now? Used to be Kiel, Scottrade, Ameritrade, Enterprise. Good call. So, so just FYI, in case you're in a kind of a hockey.
Well, I knew since it's now my son's birthday month that the NHL playoffs are around the corner because when he was born in the hospital and then taking him home and sitting on the couch with him watching a lot of playoff hockey.
That's right, because Haley's a big Blues fan.
She is, yes.
That's right. Your wife is a huge Blues fan. What birthday, what day?
The 28th.
28th, okay, because Andrew's the 7th.
2 weeks.
Andrew turns 18 coming up here, and we're going down to that Savannah Banana game Saturday with a 95% chance of rain. I think it's 95% chance of rain in the United States. Like not just in St. Louis or the Midwest. I think it is literally the entire country is going to get rain.
Man.
So we're going to get a lot of rain over the next 4 or 5 days. So not a lot of baseball, and means I have to work.
Hopefully you guys get whatever needs to happen to be able to watch the Bananas play. Should be awesome.
I'm not quite into it as much as others, I think, but I kind of am glad that I'm not, because I'm going in almost like I haven't seen the preview of a movie.
Yeah.
You know, okay, I get the premise of them. They're the Harlem Globetrotters. I get the idea that if they hit a foul ball and I catch it, the guy's out, which is kind of cool, right? I mean, that's kind of a neat thing. And there's little things, like if they throw a wild pitch, you can steal first. Like you can literally just go down and take first. So there's little things that are going to be kind of fun, but I kind of I'm in that part where I don't really understand it as much. So I'm excited I hope they play. The other thing I'm doing is eating at Hooters. That is number one on my list for this weekend.
Nice.
Like 3 times. I'm eating Hooters like 3 times. And then I'm bringing home about...
Is it wings every time?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Wings. Yeah. I do love the Hooters cheeseburger, by the way. Really good cheeseburger, just FYI. Anyway, I might bring home like 100 wings. Just so, people, if somebody's craving for a Hooters wing that you can't get anymore, I'll have them here in Philo. It'll be $10 a wing.
They are good wings. $10 a wing.
And it's the only reason it's not 20 is because they'd be like 3 days old. But that's not my problem. Throw them in the air fryer and get them going.
Right.
Air fryer, by the way, really
underrated.
Underrated, huge. Had some chicken last night in the air fryer. I'm the mix and match. Like I take whatever's in my fridge and I just dump it all into a container. Literally.
You told me about that before.
And then I just throw whatever food I'm eating that night, just shake it up, let it sit overnight, and then just throw it in the air fryer. Oh, it's perfect.
Weren't you talking one time about like the Taco Bell mild sauce on there too? Like
with ranch and some Parmesan cheese. You got to put some olive oil in there to get a little bit of some liquid. Throw a little Lowry's in there, maybe some seasoning salt, maybe some little garlic powder. I just mix whatever I have, like Worcestershire sauce. I'm just throwing it all in there and just going to town.
Man, Lon makes really good casseroles. And you expect just kind of that very standard.
Right. No, it's not like barbecue chicken. It is like the potpourri of whatever I have in my fridge and in my spice rack, which I have this really impressive spice rack that would hold probably upwards of 40 spices. And right now I have 3 things in it. Right, Lowry's, something else, and like garlic powder. I'm like, I really probably ought to. You know how every recipe calls for like one thing, like paprika or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, where do you even get that? And then like you go to the store and there's like this big thing of paprika that would last me until 2068, and I'm like, I really don't want to spend $3 on this. So you go to your neighbors.
Thyme or thyme? I always see that. I'm like, what the heck is this?
That?
What does it taste like? I don't know. Do I need it?
And then it's like, put 1 flake of thyme or whatever. And it's like, what is that going to do to it? So I just go to my neighbors. I'm like, hey, you wouldn't have paprika. Oh, you do? Sweet. You mind if I borrow? Oh, wow, you bought this bottle back in 1984. I mean, they need to come up with like a guy's bottle so it's like, you know, they do that where they'll have like 4 different seasoning in one. They need to do that for guys. Like put just a little bit of garlic powder, just a little bit of thyme, whatever it is.
Yep.
Little paprika, if I'm even saying that right. And just say, okay, $5 covers you for every recipe you need for the next 20 years. That's what I'm going to invent that.
I like that.
So there you go. Nobody else patent that.
Good deal.
I'm doing it tonight. I'm going to start working on it. Let's go. Sorry, that little blues talk there, but I'm fired up for the Blues.
It's all good. We'll get some final thoughts. Baseball tonight. Cubs back in action and Cardinals as well. Get you set for that before we get out of here. It is The Drive.
It's a perfect time to start betting with Circus Sports Illinois. Whether you're betting throughout the mayhem of college basketball or sticking to pro basketball and hockey, Circus Sports has it all. From betting futures to props on your favorite players, Circus Sports Illinois isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be. High betting limits, tight money line splits, and exceptional customer service. Download the Circus Sports Illinois app or visit circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When the storm rolls in, where will you go? Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your family with a custom storm shelter from Berg Septic and Storm Shelter Services. At Berg Tanks, their shelters are fiberglass and plate steel safe rooms that can be installed in your garage or exterior, in ground, or on a concrete pad. Built to withstand the toughest storms, giving you a safe, secure place when you need it most. Whether you need a compact unit for a small space or a larger shelter for the whole family, they've got you covered. Their expert team handles everything from excavation to installation so you can have peace of mind before the next storm strikes. Berg Septic also specializes in septic pumping, new system installation, grease trap cleanings, repairs, and maintenance plans to keep your home running smoothly. Call Berg Septic and Storm Shelter Services today at 217-367-8632 or visit them online at bergtanksinc.com. That's BERGtanksinc.com.
Actually, I called the provider. It was just going to be a while before I could have service, and I couldn't wait, so I was recommended to Classic. Professionalism, their dependability, credibility, and the service technicians, I wouldn't ever call anybody else.
I truly believe that after people have experienced other companies and then given us a try, they can clearly see the difference.
Visit ClassicPlum.com.
You've heard about the doggy bag, right? From Bulldog Disposal Muhammad, a 6 cubic yard canvas bag that can be used for easy cleanup instead of a big dumpster. The one-time use bag is now available and you can save the delivery charge. Get the doggy bag at Do It Best Hardware in Champaign at 107 West Springfield. So fill up the bag, call Bulldog Disposal, have it disposed of, and you'll be organized. Go to bulldoggybag.com for all the details. That's bulldoggybag.com.
Are you tired of shivering in the winter? Look no further than your local heroes at ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. Hi, this is Gina inviting you to give us a call at 217-352-5400 to book your appointment to make sure your furnaces run safely and efficiently this winter. We've been proudly locally owned and operated and have been serving our community for over 50 years. ABC, always be comfortable. Call me 217-352-5400 to book your appointment today or go to abcheatingandac.com.
My name is Jim Brookins. I own my lawn care service for over 15 years now. I have met a lot of great people doing this. Most of the people I meet, they become great friends. I do edging, weed eating. I blow everything off so it looks fantastic when I'm done. I believe, in my mind, I do the best. Usually my average range is usually around $40 per yard. You can call me 217-621-8807. 217-621-8807.
Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights. We switch TV channels. Some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow right here in Champaign-Urbana can switch you over so you can start saving today. Kurt and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. It's easy to switch and save. Just give them a call when you want the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Finishing up on the drive with Tay and Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. I just learned during the break that Lon is also on fire in gambling, and now I'm big jealous.
Yeah,
big time jealous.
I nailed Hamlin and Martinsville. Won a nice little, whatever.
Chunk
and then hit Kim or whatever in golf. Was going to take Scheffler, and I decided against it. And then Kim goes like all psycho off the tee box, like the last 4 holes. And I'm like, oh, Scheffler is going to win this. But he didn't. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I can't bet basketball to save my life.
It's tough.
I did. Hold on, though. The night that Iowa State lost to Michigan State, that was kind of my – I had, I think, a 12 – now, would they have played 12 games that day? No.
Iowa State lost to Ole Miss.
Or I'm sorry. Okay.
But that would have been a round of 32. Okay. So it would have been a lot of games. Yeah.
I had like a 12 game that was going to pay about $600, and I hit every one of them but Iowa State.
Man.
And I was like, oh. I mean, I had a couple upsets in there. Mm-hmm. Man, I had my Final Four was Florida. No, I'm sorry. Auburn, Duke, Tennessee, Texas Tech. And I went from thinking I'm going to be the cat's meow to, never mind, all 4. Is it bad with all 4 ones in? I mean, I guess not.
If the games deliver.
Right. They should be some really good games.
Then I think we'll be all right with it.
We'll have to talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, we will.
I got a parlay I feel pretty good about. I parlayed all 4 1 seeds to make the Final Four before the Sweet 16 started, with the last leg being Duke to win the title. So we'll see. I got 4 of the 5 out of the way.
Did you just go up to a chalkboard and do that? That's not a bad idea to do. Yeah. Although, what was it? 2008 is the last time that happened?
Yeah, only other time it's happened.
Oh, the only other. So that does take some guts to do that.
I kind of hedged my bracket because I was going to do the all ones in my bracket, and then I'm like, I can't do all ones, so I picked Tennessee to spice it up. I'm like, I actually think all the ones are going to win. So let's.
Whoever's winning your bracket out there, we don't like you. It's just that simple because you are no fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're no fun.
I will say my pick tonight is Matt Olson to hit a home run.
The
Braves need to win badly They're 0-4.
Does anyone on the Braves remember how to hit? Or?
I don't think so. But you do have, according to rotogrinders.com, where I go to get my weather news for the baseball, 20-mile-an-hour wind out to right field. So Olson, lefty, pulling it to right. I think he gets one tonight.
You guys go that far to look at wind and stuff.
Yeah, I did.
Who are you going with?
I got Josh Naylor of the Diamondbacks.
Oh, that's right.
To hit one at Yankee Stadium.
Naylor is plus 540 on my app.
DraftKings had him at plus 700. That's what I got him at.
Well, see.
Maybe the line moved once Kyle said it.
I guarantee you it moved. I should have made the bet before he threw out his skill.
Could have been. Liberatore on the hill tonight for the Cardinals. See what he's got. Kind of, this seems like the last straw of trying to stick in that rotation with him this year. Hendricks, do they break the curse there? I don't know. And then Justin Steele against Luis Severino for the A's.
Okay.
Late night in Sacramento.
In Sacramento, right.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see what Liberatore can do.
I am too. I did think he had a decent spring.
Yeah. Stephen Matz threw pretty well in relief.
Yeah, he did.
The other day. So, but he seems to do that. It's just when you start
having him do it then.
Yeah, then he just gets hurt.
Yep. Steele hasn't gotten off to a great start yet, but he is obviously a really good pitcher.
Cubs overrated.